Greetings, conscious breathers, infinite beings alike, breath family. So today's topic is the sex before marriage lie. Where are we going to take it today? We're going to take it all over. I think this is a much needed topic to really desensitize. Well, I think most of society, quote unquote, is desensitized, if you really want to take it there. And in terms of our senses, I think most of us lost our senses due to a lot of external noise. A lot of external noise. Wow, there's a bunch of people today. Okay. So let's tap in. The sex before marriage lie, because it is a really big lie. Because in hindsight, as soon as you're born, that first touch, let's look at universal law as well and dive into one of the biggest factors, that everything is vibrating. There is nothing that is quote unquote stagnant. And let's look at sex itself, which is sacred energy exchange. Well, in hindsight, life itself is sacred, right? Life itself is sacred. Life itself, anything to do with life is sacred. Now, let's tap into energy. Well, everything's energy, right? Everything's energy, because nothing is truly moving. There was even one point in before religion came into play. There was something called animism, where everyone had such an awareness that they saw that everything was alive, even before science told everyone that, hey, nothing is truly stagnant. Everything is moving at a molecular rate, by the second, to the millisecond. Nothing is truly physical, right? So let's dive even more into that. Welcome. Let's dive more into that. So if nothing is truly physical, from down to the sound that you're hearing right now, that sound is traveling through this phone to wherever you are, the sound of my voice, and it's penetrating your ears, right? And now if you look at different fetishes, right? There's foot fetish, there's even ear fetishes, all types of fetishes, if you want to put it like that. And everything is sex. That's the main point I'm getting at. Everything is sex. So one of the biggest lies I always hear all the time, in certain sanctions, in certain constructs where it's constricted in a sense in terms of what they're perpetuating on the consciousness of people, that's saying, hey, sex before marriage is wrong. Well, just being alive right now, just being, as the wind touches your skin, penetrating your skin, going in and out from your exhale to your inhale, you're having sex with the wind. So shoot, as soon as I'm born, just being, am I condemned? Am I sinned? Am I a sinful being? Yes, I think we all are in our own different ways of being. And let's dive more into that. So just by looking at someone, your eyes generate something what they call the Heisenberg ray. And they discovered the Heisenberg ray of having experiments where they had people's eyes just open like that for hours, and they could finally measure a specific ray that they just called the Heisenberg ray. And that's why in Hollywood they say the eyes are the projectors, right? And they were onto something here, because your eyes are projecting energy, but it also takes in energy at the same time. It's a real conundrum. But when you think of, we can dive into the parallels of holographic universes, so to speak, and use holographics to see the insight and the foresight and how the external exchanges happen back and forth simultaneously as you open your eyes. As they say, when you close your eyes, the world is completely gone, in a sense. It's an interesting conundrum. But going back to the main topic, everything is sex. Sex before marriage already happens. Because when you exhale, even down to your exhale, right? What since as a society, modern society, the modern man, and you can maybe blame, I don't even want to blame, but as a whole consensus of people who manipulate the consciousness of the masses, you can say there's been heavy manipulation to letting us forget of how sensitive of energy beings we really are, right? To the point where, oh, I have such a sensitivity and such a moral ground for animals, right? But we're forgetting the trees. We're forgetting that even the air that we breathe has somewhat molecular structures of living organisms in the air, right? How desensitized have we become to not see and feel, forget seeing, but feeling that everything is sex? I had someone wanted to hop on live. You're more than welcome to hop on live. I don't know where you went, but whoever you were, you're more than welcome. As long as you stay on topic. Everyone here is welcome to hop on. Okay? Everything is sex. So when you're touching something like this steering wheel, this steering wheel leaves a DNA imprint. Just how a lot of people like to say, hey, when you have sex with this person, it leaves an imprint on you for X amount of time, right? Well, you're doing the same thing with physical objects as well. You leave that DNA imprint, and that DNA imprint communicates with the molecular structure of the object, and they communicate. And that's the same thing of what's happening even with Scalar, what I'm doing with Scalar. If someone were to send me their picture, that picture is being their picture of themselves. That's their DNA makeup. That's their fingerprint, right? And depending on what they're working on, let's say I always like to go back to the type 1 diabetic, because that was a wildest story that I personally have experienced with that person. But when they send that picture in, and I'm pumping specific frequencies to target type 1 diabetes, that person is feeling it all over in their body. It's almost the same thing as if you're actually having sexual intercourse with another human being, where you can feel certain electrical inputs coming in and out your body. What's happening? Because the body is thinking that, hey, we're making a baby, so we need all the juices firing off and communicating so we can properly cultivate all this energy to quote unquote create the baby. Everything is sex. Everything is sex. With you communicating with one person, right? And let's not even look at it at a penetrating pornographic outlook in terms of the sexual mind. Let's even take it up another layer that we have become desensitized to. So when we're talking, and let's say business, for instance, right? Group of business people come together and we're talking, creating, cultivating, and sharing ideas. And then out of that conversation spawns birth an idea, a construct, a plan of action. If we weren't so desensitized, a lot of us would say, hey, you guys created a baby. Everything is sex. Everything is sex. Everything is sex. And you know how it even ties into even a physical baby? Well, if so-and-so has an idea, and I'm going to bring it down into layer after layer of how it affects to an actual baby being born, right? So these business people, they have an idea, they blah, 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 blah. All right, so boom, we create a new business. You may look at that as a baby. All right, great. Even if you don't want to look at that, all right, let's take the business, for instance. So this business has now blossomed, has created, and now that business needs employees, right? So the employees start working at the business, and now they have funds to actually help sustain whatever lifestyle they have. And hey, honey, I've been working at this beautiful company for X amount of time, and now I think we have enough to really raise a children. Let's make a baby. Well, down to the people that created the business had an influence of even creating the baby. That's how desensitized we all, most of society, if you will, have become to not see the ripples of how each of us play a role in creating, mass producing. Let's take an ex-con, for instance, comes out of prison or whatever, and this ex-con goes to practice self-development, right? And because he has people to practice with and help him cultivate a different state of mind and being to become, you could say, a healthier citizen or just a healthier human being, he now has a beautiful, better outlook from life than what got him into prison to begin with. And now, later down the line, he may meet another beautiful human being and they may create a baby. Well, the people who helped him create and cultivate such a exploric mind and a healthy outlook of life helped him make the decisions to fall in love, so to speak, and help create a baby. You're seeing the ripples here. So everyone who helped that person, that individual, had some type of play to create the baby. Sex. Everyone's having sex. No matter how you look at it. Every single one is having sex. You're having sex with your car. You're having sex with the food, the drink you eat, whatever the case may be. You are having sex. There is an energy exchange with everything you do, touch, see, experience, and cultivate. All right, somebody got some questions here. How do you feel about polygamy since every sexual encounter leaves an imprint? It's no different. It's really no different. It's the same thing, but different lenses. So many different lenses. So many different lenses. But it's the same repetitive cycle that for some reason we all, most of us or most of society have created constructs to demonize, down to the point where honestly we all should be naked. We all honestly should be naked. We were born naked. So how have we created such a reverse cycle in psychology on ourselves? And shoot, if you're a male and you have the space, the time, get your balls into the sun, get some free testosterone, get your hormones blossoming. That's your life force energy. That's your root. Get it in the sun. And if you can, and you live in a colder area, that's why I always push red light therapy. That's a huge hack for men. And they even shown in studies that testosterone goes up 400%. That's a lot. 400% from having your balls just directly on the red light for just 10 minutes a day. 400%. That's a lot. That's a lot. All right, somebody wanted to go live. Connected. Let me turn. Okay, there we go. Hello there.
Hey.
Greetings.
How you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm okay.
Yeah. Do you want to add to the
I-
topic that everything is sex?
Absolutely. You know, I'm calling from Nigeria, and I don't know if you know, we have a lot of moral fetish, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
And for instance, I grew up in Christianity up until like 33, and of course, in Christianity, you're told no sex before marriage and things like that.
Yeah.
I'll be 37 in 2 months, and I stopped being religious, started being irreligious 4 years ago, and that was when I actually began to explore the concept of sexual energy. That even sexual energy goes way beyond the actual genital sex, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's been phenomenal, the kind of revelation quote unquote, the kind of consciousness awakening, the kind of experience that I've been able to stumble upon since I started exploring the concept of sexual energy. And I don't know why religion just wants to keep this phenomenal experience from us. I don't know, maybe because it is Caucasian designed or something. But in the course of my research, I began to understand that this has been on for entire millennia, you know, up until, transatlantic slave trade and the actual motherland colonization of Africa. This information was actually, communal based, as it were, and it wasn't an issue for us understanding this concept, even though we might not be speaking English, right? Our ancestors might not be speaking English, but they understood this sexual energy concept that could even heal you, right? If you explored it, if your parents passed down that information to you and you understood what the sexual energy was about and all of that. And as you grew, as you advanced in age, and through the culture, you understood what sexual energy was. See, I only began to explore sexual energy at maybe I think at 32. And I know a lot of people who are even way older than me who knows nothing about sexual energy. All they know about sex is just, okay, a guy and a girl come together and then they have sex, right? And then also ever since I started following you, it's been an eye opener, really. I've never lived outside of Africa intentionally because I love Africa. I love my continent.
It's a beautiful place.
But technology has given me the opportunity to connect with people like you, and it's been phenomenal, the things I've learned from you, most especially breathwork. Man, breathwork has changed my life, man. Sexual energy is something that you can't even you need about at least a decade to fully explore and use it as a fundamental instrument for holistic life transformation. It's so far, it's been phenomenal, the kind of transformation that has happened to me ever since I stumbled upon the concept of sexual energy. So I just thought to jump in and thank you. Thank you for all you do so much.
Thank you, brother, for sharing that insight and your perception from where you are in this moment in time. It's a beautiful thing, especially when we can come together on these platforms and share different insights. And I like how you brought up our ancestors, in a sense, how they knew this before outside influence came into corrupting certain cultures that we've cultivated for so long, all the way down to animism. A lot of people don't know, but animism really started in Africa, where the African shamans, they knew that everything was alive. Literally everything was living, moving.
Absolutely.
Way before scientists figured out that, oh, wait a minute, this thing isn't actually a solid. This is actually moving at a molecular rate, creating the things that we may feel as quote unquote physical. And I even always like to bring up the Dogon people, how they knew Series B was where it was placed even before the Western scientists figured it out. So that type of resonance of being and cultivation will teach a person way beyond another human being can express in words. And that's the beauty of enveloping yourself and living, being, and doing as much as you can to cultivate these type of energies and experience it,
Absolutely. Sexual energy is such a powerful concept that can be a powerful instrument. I tell people that the most dynamic creative energy is powered by sexual energy. A lot of people don't understand how powerful the concept of sexual energy is because it's been demonized by religion. And most of us, most people in Africa knows not, they don't know any better, and they are too afraid because they demonize it, quote and unquote, attach satanism to it, in quote, like, fornication and adultery and things like that. And the actuality of the core experience, the core benefit, the sovereign benefit, I like to add of the sexual energy is missed out on. A lot of people maybe only get to know about it at 60 something. I'm talking African now. Some even at 70 something. Some never get to know about it till they hit their grave, and it's so sad to think about. I'm happy for what you do, despite all of the shadow banning, despite all of the being limited in your reach intentionally by who. But your persistence, has been helping a lot of us, and we've been we hear you and we go do our research. I'm heavily into research, right? We hear you, we go do our research, right? So it's been phenomenal, all that we've been able to discover. And somebody was saying something in the comment about morality, that you're trying to create borderlessness or boundlessness to morality, because the person's mindset around morality is control, right?
Right.
So the person have not been raised to be disciplined, right? Where the core of your beingness is discipline, right? So you think that there has to be some kind of external control, external moral control. Whereas when you ascend onto consciousness, you know what not to do and what to do.
Yep.
You know what to explore and what not to explore, in quote, right? Even though there is no such thing as what not to explore, right? So, but I'm really excited and very, very impressed, or should I even say very happy with some of these concepts you are introducing, or should I say reintroducing to us? Because like you talked about the Dogon tribe of Mali, I've been in communication with some of the tribe members. I live in Nigeria, born and brought up in Nigeria, but Mali is not so far from. Mali is in West Africa, just as Nigeria, right?
Yeah.
So, and I've been doing some connecting with some actual Dogon tribes in Mali. Actually, I've been connecting with them, getting information from them based on some ancient texts.
Greetings. Here we go, part 2. We got cut off the previous live, so we shall try this again. Hopefully we can get our brother back on. That was such a great conversation we started, talking about sex before marriage, the lie. Yeah. But hey, let's not play the blame game. Let's just focus on what we can control and leave the rest to the Most High. Yeah, I know. I know. Peace. So we started off talking about sex before marriage, one of the biggest lies. Let's see if we can bring him back again. All right, there. All right, cool. Hey there. All right, we're back.
Yeah. I was saying something. I don't know if I know you're a larger percentage of the audience are Americans, right?
It's a mix at this point. Where I'm at, it's a heavy mix. Really blessed in that sense. I love communicating with everyone outside the U.S., not just the U.S. So I love communicating with all types of religions. I try to do that as much as I can because I think it's very important because we can learn from a lot from each other, and I want to push that quote very, very much so. We can learn a lot from different religions, tribes, and different outlooks of spirituality, for sure.
Like I said, I was raised in Christianity, right? Then I became irreligious because, I've always had a curious soul. I think a lot of Africans were born with that curiosity, right? But I realized that a lot of the curiosity that I had, I couldn't explore because of thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. right? And that was one of the reasons why I started looking out, for the kind of people I could listen to. I was tired. I was tired of many things. Even in the business environment, we found people infiltrating the business environment with religious mindset and things like that. And it more or less like limited me until I started stumbling upon people like you, people like Forbidden Knowledge, Billy Cassin, people like Orisha, and the works they were doing. It was really just awakening the African in me, and I was like, man, these guys are Americans and and they know this much, and I'm wondering, what do I know? I live in America. That's how much the disinformationist agenda has gone so deep into our core, the core of our sleeves, And I'm doing my beats in my inner circle. I can't do nothing on the internet because I get shadow ban and all that. So I stopped doing it on the internet, right? So mostly I do what I do off the internet. Sensitization. Sexual energy is one of the things I try to sensitize my people with, because a lot of people suffer unduly, unnecessarily, because they lack the understanding or even the existence of the concept of sexual energy.
Yeah,
And
I wanna quickly share this another insight of people that are that they can't really see the main output of what I'm saying here in the sense of everything is sex. So let me give some people this type of construct and awareness in this sense. So when you go in front of a person face to face in real life and you're talking or whatever, you don't leave your sexual organs in the house, right? You don't leave it in the
yeah,
house.
yeah,
You don't leave it in the house. You
absolutely,
bring it with you. It's with you
absolutely,
24/7, 365.
absolutely,
You don't leave it
absolutely.
in the car.
From cradle to the grave.
You bring it with you. So I say that to say, that's how desensitized uh, they have. I don't want to say they, but certain constructs have pushed into mass manipulation to create different things within society and build from that. And they knew what they were doing, all the way down to there's this scripture that I read, and it was like their own news article at a certain point, and they actually put this into the movie, the Robin Hood movie with what's his name, Jamie Foxx. A lot of people don't
Okay.
know that the particular scene is actually from an old in stone like news tablet where behind closed doors the priests they asked the priest like, hey, why do you push heaven and hell so much when certain constructs of hell isn't really talked about and you want to use this version of the Bible versus this? And he says, well, it's to control the people. This is a priest saying it's to control the people, and
Absolutely.
they put that in the movie, but a lot of people don't know that actually came from a real old news tablet article back in the BC age.
Absolutely. It's all about control, really. I have a book I'm writing and I'm publishing it on my birthday, my next 37th birthday in March, and it's basically a personal discovery kind of book, right? I've been on my personal discovery journey since 2004, ever since I clocked 19. And there are a couple of information that were termed forbidden information or satanic information back when I was a Christian, which are actually universal sovereign information for personal empowerment in such a way that once you lay your hands on this information, there is no human being, no institution that can ever control you in this world. It's all about control, right? And I'm sick and tired of even mediocre people trying to control folks who are actually ancestrally more powerful than them. And I'm like, we just need to do what we need to do to create this awakening, even though beyond us as individuals, there is a global awakening happening already. So the algorithm of social media can't stop it from happening. This decade is going to see is going to see a lot of people waking up and taking charge, control of their lives, control of their brains, control of their minds, control of their soul, and I'm so happy. I've never been out of Africa, but for someone like you, I could visit Miami, I could visit the US just because of you and come back to Africa. I don't have any plans to relocate to America or anything like that. I know how much wealth is in Africa, and I know how much, the Caucasian system, the American system, even the Chinese system now are trying to plunder us of all our resources. And I'm
Yeah,
telling
as
myself,
a kid growing up, I always used to tell my dad, and my dad would instill to me how much resources, even a place like Jamaica, every time he goes back and there's country people that say, "Oh, I want to go to America," this, and then he looks at them, he's like, "Why you want this dress? Why you want these bills and all that stuff?"
exactly,
And growing up, he's always taught me that people around places like a beautiful Jamaica should never go hungry. There's a mango tree there, there's a coconut tree
exactly,
there, but for some
exactly.
reason,
But
the
they've been
media
decentralized.
from the West has influenced a lot of people to think otherwise or think in a different way, that they're limited in a sense. And
Exactly,
I
exactly.
always said that Africa is going to be the next China. And this was me talking at 10 years old. I can show you things I would write in school, and I always would say
Wow,
Africa has so much resources that it should
wow,
be the next China. And now we're actually seeing China themselves trying to come in and take.
exactly,
And now
exactly.
we're I think it started like about 4 or 5 years ago, that some leaders in Africa are finally talking and speaking up, be like, "Hey, why are we importing this when we can go to
Exactly,
this village and hire and influence our own
exactly,
people and circulate the money this
exactly.
way?"
Exactly, exactly. And it's beautiful because, see, media broadcasting, you see, broadcasting, right? Casting a spell.
Mm-hmm.
You have the right food for the mind in Africa, most especially for the Africans and folks of African descent, right? Fruits and vegetables and plant-based meals are supposed to be the most ideal food for them. But because of media has programmed them to think that mango is not food, banana is not food, right? It's just maybe some dessert that you take, right? Just take one or two fingers and things like that. And they want to go for the fake food. They've been programmed that way. So they watch TV, they watch the commercials and all of that from childhood. They've been watching it, and so they've been programmed. It's kind of very difficult for them to see that this is actually not food to their genetic makeup as melanated people, right? This is actually poison. But you see, I'm happy that I was able to eventually pivot that disinformationist programming. I'm happy, and nothing can hold me back anymore. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And I'm happy that people like you will live in America. You just told us, your foundation. If not, you probably will have been lost, really, because you have a very, very solid foundation. Your dad instilled in you a very, very solid foundation and things like that. And of course, it's yielding fruits. You just patented your product, right? It's amazing, and it's something that makes me want to listen to you more. There are always gems to learn from you. Apart from today, before today, each time I've jumped up and jumped on your live, I'm always writing notes.
Oh,
Always writing notes. Always writing notes because I'm gonna go do my research. I'm gonna do further research. It's germs, things I'm literally hearing for the very first time. I get to hear them on your live, and of course that's one of the reasons why
hey,
them. They're trying to limit you.
I want to say I'm learning some stuff from you as well, brother. As well, we're learning from each other. That's what it's about. And growth wise, it's the only way. It's the only way.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know that I'm going to advocate for you in some way here in Africa, because the device you have, I've been doing a lot of thinking around it. Because see, a lot of times, for instance,
Are you talking about the frequency breather?
yes, 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 yes. Yeah.
Yeah. For those that are new here, frequency breathers. Yeah, you plug them in. You're breathing in frequencies, and you can also plug in music. I have a video actually. I'll post a little bit later. When I plugged, I designed new scalers, and with the new scaler, when you plug in some of the subliminal breathwork music, you can actually hear the scalers breathing. You can actually
Hmm.
hear
Wow.
breathing. So,
Wow.
and even quickly touching on the Dogon people of how connected they were in terms of nature, atmosphere, you name it. And in hindsight, I don't care what country anyone's from. In hindsight, all of this is Africa. There's even certain birds here in Miami that are technically supposed to be in
In
Africa.
Africa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
people don't know as well. Parts of Arizona has African animals and stuff like that. It's
Based on what
and
I read,
hmm
Not a part of North America was an extension of Africa. You know, the ancient emperors had more or less like missionaries. You know, Africans were the first to circumnavigate the earth, not Christopher Columbus. Anyways,
right.
our ancestors have been circumnavigating the earth for entire, if not entire millennia before before Christopher Columbus got guided, right? So I heard that some part of North America were an extension of Africa, really, you know, extension of African kingdoms, more or less, you know, before the coming of Christopher Columbus and the rest, right?
Mm,
So there's been presence of Africans, you know, even in North America,
hmm
you know, before the king, right? So
Yeah,
I
and
thought that
we can even dive into when you look into the Moors and the Moorish history.
exactly more
They'll
science,
they'll
yeah,
tell
true,
you every single lineage, even before Columbus came touching America, as what we know as America.
exactly, exactly.
All right, brother.
I'm looking forward to when you would want to go come on vacation to Africa. I'm
Well,
going to be your tour guide.
I'm going to Egypt in March, but later down the line in the coming years, I definitely want to do something, some part of Africa, another part of
Okay.
Africa. Sure.
Okay. Thank you so much. Respect.
All right, brother.
Peace.
Peace. All right. I had someone else wanted to hop on. Thank you guys for those who came back. I know we had some difficulties. Hello, brother.
Hi, man.
How you doing? Where you calling from?
I'm here in Germany.
Ah, Germany. Okay, I have some friends in Germany. How you doing? Do you want to add on to the topic or anything?
Yeah, I agree with your sex is everything, yes, that's very true. And I also wanted to emphasize the fact that we also have sex with ourselves
Hmm
as spiritual beings, of course, and also in sex interactions with our lovers. We are also having an exchange of energy, like we know a lot about the and the sexual energy that flows into the body, up into the brain, and it gives us energy more. It increases the testosterone, and it also heals our body and also the person. And yeah, that's what I wanted to add for now.
Yeah, just with the cells in itself, in terms of cell transmutation, in terms of cell death. In a sense, the cells, cells themselves don't actually eat food. They eat other cells, and they even eat our own cells, and their own cells become new cells. And what do you think they're having? They're literally having sex, literally. So I wanted to add that into what you said in terms of we're having sex with ourselves, for sure. We see every part of our bodies. We're projecting energy from our eyes going into uh, the rest of our body, going back to the Heisenberg ray when I was talking about that. And yeah, we're having an experience with ourselves 24/7 365 in every moment of our being, all the way down to the soul itself, beyond the physical flesh.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like the world is also a projection of ourselves, so we can see all the reflections and all the parts of the selves being projected to people and to the matrix and everything. So that's a very beautiful topic about sex, because a lot of people see it differently, and all sexual interaction and everything, like a guy that was before said, also a very good topic.
Mhm. Well, thank you, brother, for hopping on. Is there anything else you want to add on, or any questions for me in general?
uh, yeah, actually I wanted to ask you about, I've seen your researches on Nikola Tesla and the science that you have also got into the shop, like the nose pluggers.
The
Like,
frequency filters?
yeah, like have you built them yourself, or?
Yeah, so the idea came from bees in terms of apitherapy. So in Russia and Moscow and around that territory, that region of the world, they have centers where you would go inside and you would hook up to a mask, and the mask is connected to this box. And the box inside the box, you're literally breathing in a beehive, like a living, real beehive. And people with asthma, people with all the different illnesses, it's a long range that I've read about. And within 2 weeks span of continuously going at least an hour a day, in 2 weeks, most of their symptoms just disappear. And scientists were literally still scratched, till this day, they're still scratching their heads, because a lot of people within that field of apitherapy that's focusing on that, once those studies, are thinking it's a smell of the beehive, it's a smell, it's a shape of the honeycomb, which is partly true as well, but more so it's the bees themselves. The fact that the bees, they don't fly, they levitate. So the bees in their chest cavity resonate a certain frequency and latch on to the Earth's magnetic field, a certain range of the Earth magnetic field, and it allows them to hop on the, you can say, an invisible force, so to speak, and allows them to maneuver and fly. They even did a study where they place antennas on top of each bee in terms of the beehive, and for any time they would fly across to another town, they would always fly in a particular motion. It wasn't random, it was a particular motion that they can set back mathematically and find and pinpoint that it's connected. And they were literally riding a specific type of highway.
Wow,
Hmm.
that's beautiful.
So I took that idea, and I also, in the back of my head, I knew how, once there was once upon a time when the pyramids were active all over the world, and all different pyramids have different use cases, but some pyramids in particular would transmute and alchemize the water. And when you alchemize the water to be, a lot of people in the community call it ormus, or living electrical water. But at a certain point, when that water goes into the atmosphere, what do you think is happening when people are breathing it in? It's more electric, it's more living, it's a more living atmosphere. There's probably more negative ions at that point that they're literally breathing in. And that's what gave me the idea for frequency breathers, where you plug it in, there's a crystal inside, there's a harmonizer with a tensor ring inside, and you can plug in multiple different frequencies that you want, and you're literally inhaling that state of being. And I have a friend that calls it ancient future technology, and it's going back to remembering. And if anyone on here, since I have a lot more new followers on here, if anyone has any clue of something similar back in ancient times, please DM me. I'm very curious to anything that is remotely close to what I'm talking about.
Yeah, what I remember is I don't know if you've heard of the Bosnia Herzegovina pyramids, the ancient pyramids there. My dad went there 1 year ago, and there was a healing place down there where people just go and I don't know with frequencies or how it was built, but the frequency down there was very, very high, like I don't know how many hertz. And it was very interesting, maybe a really healing place if you do it every day and stuff. High frequencies, like you said.
Interesting. No, I've never heard of that particular pyramid. And it also reminds me of in India, there's a place where there's a humongous lingam. And the lingam is something uh, that's literally where the Tesla coil is derivated from. Tesla definitely saw and studied Indian culture for sure, and a little, and then some African cultures as well to create the Tesla coil, because in some African temples, and a lot of people don't know this, before Tesla really settled in the U.S., he had his Spanish friend. I forgot his name already, but he had a Spanish partner that would help him travel all over different countries and stuff, to the point where he also practiced even more meditation and stuff like that. But when he went to India and Africa, he literally combined both of those cultures. And if you look at, there's a certain temple in India till this day that is still pretty active. It's so active, when you go in there, it is hot. And it's a different type of heat. And the heat is really coming from the lingam. That's how active and powerful the lingam is. You can just sit there and you just feel it. It's definitely one of my go-to places in my head one day. I'll make a pilgrimage out there and experience that. But with the lingam, inside the lingam is particular coils, and it's wrapped around in a certain way that it produces that amount of resonance and energy. And that is how Tesla came up with the Tesla coil. But if you look at certain scriptures and stuff, you can literally see the lingam and people dancing around the lingam, and you see electrical outputs literally coming from the lingam. So every time I stumble across texts like this, even down to in Africa, there's certain scriptures where, and they have some in Egypt too, where they have these prongs, these two prongs that go right here in the middle of in the back of your forehead, and that prong is twisted a certain way too, and it goes straight into the earth. What do you think they were doing, sending it in that particular spot? A lot of people don't know, but that particular spot, that soft spot in the middle of your head, is where the pineal gland really is. That's an even more softer directive flow to the pineal. The pineal is not just here. The pineal is actually on top of here in the middle, but even the more softer spot, especially when you're dealing with light therapy, it's better to actually use the back of your head and shine the light frequencies from the back of the head. And that's literally all over scriptures and texts like that. And every time I see that, I said to myself, well, if we as a society weren't too busy focus on bills and random other stuff, you name it, I think we'd get to the point where we were just like our older ancestors, where we created technologies that harmonize with the earth rather than damaging the earth. Even going into scalar itself, scalar is showing me that frequency nutrition definitely one day, mark my words, will definitely be replacing food nutrition, and finally give people an awareness and a feel that you can say breatharianism, it can definitely be felt, just like the testimonials I share with that lady that said, like, oh, now I can really understand frequency as food now. I feel it. I don't see it, I'm feeling it, right? And that's where a lot of people should definitely focus on moving forward in their everyday life, feeling rather than what you see. Get into more of what you feel. And I like to say, the more you can feel, the more you can breathe. The more you can breathe is the more you can feel. And the more you can feel, the more you can heal. And the more you can heal, the more you can do. And the more you can do, the more we can just flourish and expand as a collective, powerful society moving forward for the betterment of our brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I hope for the that Indian, like that Indian star, that Indian place that you said. Imagine like there were more places and there were the Tesla coils were everywhere instead of the other antennas and everything. Like people and civilization of the whole world would be very different, and I hope we are headed towards a better earth.
Oh yeah, I feel we're gonna be heading there regardless, to the point, because you can even look at it at a financial standpoint, and even take the movie Wall-E, for instance, where a lot of I think the percentage went up, like they had 60% more millionaires, and it's happening every year, right? So sure, we all have so much money. At a certain point, people are finally gonna wake up and say, like, hey, there's more to money and more things to do in life for me to experience, rather than being too focused on this. And there's more to life than that. And there's a couple of videos that's coming out saying the new rich, where we don't care about your house, the cars, and all that stuff. We care about your experiences, right? And that's what society is slowly but surely definitely moving into, that space, and that alchemical lifestyle, so to speak. And we're finally seeing the value of experiences rather than material things.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. Actually, a lot of I've read that the evolution of our being is a lot more important, and money will just flow in our life, will give us what we need, and so we do our work and we continue to live life in evolution instead of just working for a job and stuff like that.
Exactly, brother. Well, brother, thank you for hopping on here. Thank everyone on here for sharing the breath. I gotta go, and
Thank you for the opportunity. You accepted me on the live.
you're always welcome. Let me take 1 second. Yeah, I'm gonna tag you in when I repost this, so it'll be available for replay. All right, peace out, everybody.
Peace.
So if anyone is thinking about getting them, let me tell you, it is a game changer. There are the frequency breathers. You know, it's interesting. I don't feel it as much with the battery, but when I plug it into my phone with the frequencies going, holy Moses, it just like is this, it goes through every part of my, it's like this cooling, I can feel it go through my whole head. The first time I put it on, I was laying down and I got this twitching in my third eye, lots of twitching. And then over on the left side above my ear, like it was clearing something. And I'm going to show you.